Hey, it's Lee here at Simplify Adulting, where we help 20 somethings navigate the complexities of adulting with particular focus on your money and your career. Our goal is to give you tools, resources, expert advice, and most of all, a supportive community that will help you go from adulting stress to adulting success. Okay, with that, we're going to hop in, and I thought it would be fun to go play with a finance calculator. I love these calculators that are out online. Bankrate does some nice ones, NerdWallet. And the thing I love about them is it's a really fun way to start to understand kind of how money stuff works. And they are fun just to play around with and understand the different levers that can get pulled in some of the financial decisions we're trying to make in adulting life. So with that, I'm going to hop over here, and I have one of these pulled up, and I pulled up an auto loan calculator because recently I spoke with a young man about he was thinking about getting a car loan, and so we talked through that, and I'll tell you how we started that. And I just want to make a little caveat first. There are a lot of people that will. There are different beliefs on how you should make decisions about how you purchase things. Never use any credit. All these sites will have like, hey, how much car can you afford? Take all these things with a grain of salt because nothing's really truly written in stone. There are different schools of thought, and they all probably have real positives to them, and some of them are like, okay, that works, that doesn't work. The most important thing is that you understand the common things that go across all those different schools of thought, and then that you can kind of figure out what works best for you when it comes to managing your money and kind of meeting your money goals. Okay, so and we're going to start out with the fact that some people would say to this young man, you don't buy a car until you can pay cash for it. Okay, was not his situation. He was going to take an auto loan, and he shared with me that he was surprised how much car he could afford. And so I thought that was an interesting comment by him. So we kind of talked about it. Well, what do you mean by that? So, and I'm just going to put the specifics in. So he said, hey, I can buy this nice used car, $28,000. So I'm going to put that in car. And he said, and they got it to like just over $500 a month payment. Okay, so let's talk through those numbers and what that really means. And so when I hear those two things, there's a couple other things that play into figuring out what's driving that 500 so-ish car payment. And what had started out is the car salesperson had asked him, how much do you want to pay a month? And I just want you to know that's where your little smart antenna have to go up, and you have to say, wow, that's not the game I'm playing. So they may think, okay, that's nice that they want to try to accommodate that, but I'm not going to make a decision from that point, because making a decision from that point usually is going to end us up with a bad deal. And let me walk through why. So here's a $28,000 car. That doesn't change, right? These calculators, new or used, there might be little differences in the background, but it doesn't matter. This was a used car. And these are the two things that really come in when we're going to start talking about that car payment. It's going to be the length of the loan, okay, so the term, how long is it, and then this interest rate. What are they going to charge me to loan me that money? Well, so this young man has had some challenges with his finances. He had gotten into some credit card debt, gotten into buy now, pay later app debt, which all just kind of negatively impacted his credit score. So they were telling him, I think it was like 14.7% interest rate, which is outrageously high, that you're spending a lot of money. You are paying a lot of money to borrow that money from the financial institution. So that's high. So you can look though, here's 28,000. They gave him his interest rate. That's kind of not going to change, right? He's not magically going to become less of a credit risk to them in the next 48 hours when they want him to buy that car. So we're at $662 a month, and he'd wanted to be around $500. and they got him there. So what lever, what could they change? Well, it's the term, okay? The term of the loan. And so you go here and you say, okay, so that's 60 months, which is a little long for a typical car loan anyways, but here you go, 72, let's try that. 588, but they said he was really just like, I think he said $530 or something like that. So that still doesn't seem right. So guess what? One more option down here for a used car, go 84 months. And voila, he got down to his $530-ish car payment. Now that may all on the surface sound or go, wow, that's like pretty cool. Like I could do that. But let's talk about the real cost of that scenario. And that's where you're going to look at these numbers. So his total principal at the end of paying that off, at the end of the 48 months, one last payment, he's going to, of course, pay the $28,000 that they said, hey, we're going to give the car dealership $28,000 on your behalf so you can take that car. And that's been in there. And then they said, and then now what did you pay in interest? Because remember this 14.7. Well, over those 84 months, he's paid almost $17,000 in interest in this scenario. And so you go, wow, it really, is this a good deal? Because, okay, $28,000 car, but I'm paying, what is that, $44,000, $45,000 for a $28,000 car? That does not sound like a good deal to me, because I guarantee you your car is not going up in value over those 84 months, right? And so this is not a good deal for this young man, but it sounded like one because one, he really wanted the car and all he could really afford was around $500 a month. And so this is why getting in and playing with these calculators, I think, is so powerful, because it starts to let you see, you got to make sure you're asking, they start out the conversation saying, how much do you want to pay per month? And for you, from a financial wellness perspective and to meet your money goals, which I think for all of us is to like have something in the bank, feel stable, know that we can kind of have some ups and downs and it doesn't like knock us back on our heels, is that you got to know that where to start from. And the starting point isn't what do you want your monthly payment to be? Because typically the answer to that is let's stretch out the term of that loan. And guess what? You're going to end up paying so much more than you realize over that time frame. So there you go. Just a little something to play with. Go out there and think about, hey, what if I did a $10,000 car, right? What would that look like? And let's say I couldn't, and oh my gosh, and I'm going to do it in 60 months. Or guess what? What if I could do it in 36 months? You know what? Maybe that's a better situation. But hey, you either got to play with the principal of the loan, you got to play with the term of it, or you got to play with the interest rate. But the important number for you to really not lose sight of is this total interest paid, because that is just typically more than you want to spend on whatever you're trying to get. So there you go. I hope that makes sense. Again, I'm going to put the link to this in the show notes, and have fun and come back and put some comments in on anything you learned when you started to play with your auto loan calculator. Until then, stay happy and healthy.